A viewer asked me yesterday on Twitter what my dad thinks about Deflategate, because my dad was an NFL quarterback who played on 3 Super Bowl teams. And so I thought that was actually a really good idea. We should ask my dad what he thinks of all this, right? Joining us on the phone is my father, Bob Lee, who played for the Vikings, Rams, and Falcons. Hi, Dad.
Hi, honey.
How you doing?
Fine.
Okay,
Fine.
so we have some viewer questions for you. Greg being the first one. Greg wants to know if a quarterback can actually feel the difference if the ball is slightly deflated.
I think you can notice a difference in a variety of footballs when they are pumped up a little differently and when they're used. And during the course of the game, you're going to notice a difference. It's the same thing as a baseball pitcher not liking a ball and throwing that ball out and getting another one because he thinks the laces are too high or, you know, something else is going on or the ball doesn't feel right. So, yes, I think somebody who's played football and thrown a football for a long time can tell a difference, maybe not the microscopic differences, but there are differences in the ball.
So then Robert has a great follow-up question for that, because he has the questions about the referees, because they actually touch the football every play. Do you think the referees would actually notice the difference and say something during the game?
Not unless there was a huge difference. And the balls are inspected, as everybody's already talked about, and this has been really overblown in some ways. They're inspected 2 hours before the game. But then once the game begins, there's so much going on, and the officials have so much to concentrate on. And unless there was a huge problem with a football, I don't think they'd notice.
And you say for a game like the one that we saw on Sunday, really it's about just keeping the ball dry.
Very much so. If you talk to any quarterback, they tell you they want a dry football. It's easier to play in snow flurries than it is in the driving rain. And it was raining hard, and it was cold in New England. And I think if you ask both Andrew and Tom, they'd say keep the ball dry, and you know, everything else will be fine.
So Asaf then has another more serious question, if this actually happened. And we don't know what the NFL is eventually going to find here. But he asked, would it be something that the entire team would know about? Is it something that the coach would know about? Is it something that just Tom Brady would know about?
Well, I would think the quarterback might know about it. I first saw Brady play when he was a senior in high school, so and I was a fan of his then because of the way he reacted to a bad situation in the game. But the quarterbacks are allowed to rub the balls down before the game. We did it in Minnesota back in 1970 because when the balls first come out, they're very, very, very slick. And we use tape remover with the league's permission to take the slickness off the footballs. You had another controversy with the kickers and punters treating the balls differently. And I'm surprised people haven't touched on this more going into this situation, in that the league came up with the K-ball, which was a kicker's ball, supposedly, that is brought in under lock and key 2 hours before the game, and only one person handles the kicking balls. But the kickers complained so much about it, and the punters, that they are now allowed to treat those balls before the game, but then they go back into the special bag, and they're brought out by an individual who's in charge of just that for both teams.
So what do you think the solution is here out of all of this?
There's probably a pretty easy solution, but it's Big Brother looking over everybody's shoulder again, and I think the competition committee this spring will come up with a rule similar to the kickers' K-ball rule, in that one person will probably be in charge, or two people in charge of all the game balls, not counting the kicking balls, during the course of the game. They'll be allowed to rub them down before the game, then they'll come back to that person. They'll be weighed. I'm sure somebody will start weighing them at halftime, checking the air pressure at halftime.
Well, should everyone just have the same footballs then?
Well, that would be the way to go. I was talking to your younger brother, Zach, about this last night, and he felt a deflated ball would be to the advantage of the receivers and the running backs because they could cover the points of the ball better. But I think everybody's going to end up using the same football, and it's going to be governed by one or two individuals on the field.
Okay,
that's
so
the way to solve it.
A quick final question then. What do you think is the impact of the Super Bowl, and who actually wins, Dad?
Oh, two really good teams. First of all, you're going to see the Seahawks talking about it all during the beginning of the game to Brady and everybody else about, hey, you got the right balls, Tom, and all that. But if the Patriots can run the football like they did against Indianapolis, and if they can keep the pass rush of the Seahawks off Brady, and he can complete those short passes and get the offense going, I think they got a great chance to win, because the Packers showed the blueprint of how to win the game for most of that ball game last week.
All right, you're going to be our go-to analyst for Happening Now, Dad. I hope you'll give us the exclusive. You can't go anywhere else now after this.
And hi to John, too, and you guys have a great weekend.
All right, thanks, Dad.
All right, bye-bye.